All right, cool. Well, welcome everyone to our monthly Tech Talk with the Collab Lab. This one I'm super excited that we have Aya with us, who's going to be talking about improv. And I think that I accidentally made a spelling mistake right there, but it's improv for less fragility on your team. And so get to improv around that spelling mistake. These talks are recorded and they're posted to YouTube. And afterwards, we'll make the links to the recordings available on the meetup page. So if you just head back over to the meetup page, you'll be able to see the recordings. And we do use live captions, which are available using Zoom's closed caption feature, and are also very funny sometimes in how wrong they can be. Yeah, and so we would also encourage everyone to read our code of conduct and abide by it as well, and let us know if there's any conduct that you see that is not abiding by said code of conduct. And would also encourage everyone, if you have the means and want to do so, to consider sponsoring us at the Collab Lab. The Collab Lab is a volunteer-run organization that helps new engineers gain experience with working on an engineering team in kind of a real collaborative environment. Really great organization. Could consider sponsoring monetarily or with involvement as a mentor, or if you'd like to take advantage of the Collab Lab as a participant. Yeah, that is all I've got here. So I'm going to hand it off to Aya now.
Thanks, Mike. Hello, everyone. And I'd like to start with knowing a little bit about you. So if you could type in chat, where are you from? Why are you here? If you want to share your LinkedIn, that's great too. And let me start by sharing my LinkedIn. So I'm Aya, and I'm from Connecticut. I'm trying to escape that, and hopefully with the remote work I can do. And I'm curious about what everyone. Oh, interesting. Oh, Chicago. Wow. My company is actually in Chicago. So probably I'm visiting. Anyone else? All right. Oh, cool. Oh, Portland. A lot of neighbors are in Portland. Interesting. Cool. Alrighty. So let me share my screen. Wow, same. Okay. Share. Oh, everyone, you can see my screen. Cool. Let me try that. Okay. So let me start with a little bit of introduction. So I'm actually Egyptian, so that's where I'm originally from, and I've been working in Agile environments for like plus 12 years. So I was really fond of Agile that I asked my supervisor first one-to-one meeting, I want to take my Scrum Master certificate and move on with my career. So I'm certified Scrum Master, and I tried while I'm working for a university to get a PhD. I did not succeed, but it's okay. I already have Master's in Information Systems and some certificates. I like mentoring a lot, especially for kids. I find them very inspirational. And I'm currently working as a senior software engineer at Relativity. I like traveling and I like to plant seeds, whether at work, whether at my garden in the backyard. And also I like to do some artistic stuff. So I call myself a software artist, like a blending some of the art with some of the software, right? And let me move to the next slide. Okay, so I'm curious, how many of you worked in Agile team? And since we're just a small group, it would be really easy to see the results, right? So please try to go to menti.com and use the code Improv so we can see a little bit about Agile work. Let me know if you have any trouble.
Would you be able to maybe post the code in here? I'm gonna post it just so that I can copy paste.
That's a good idea.
There we
That's
go.
great. Thank you so much.
And I submitted mine. Is it supposed to show up there or not?
Yeah, I think so. I'm not sure why it's not showing up, but let me try stop sharing for a second and see if I can get that straight. Okay. Oh, I can see something. So let's try. Thank you for trying that. Share screen again and see and share. And here you go. Oh, so we have 3 that are curious, and we have 1 person that worked more than 7 years. That's awesome. And also 2 years or more. That's awesome too. Great, great, great. So my next slide would not be relevant at the point. Let me try. Oops. Let me try. Here you go. So let me try explaining Agile.
So we're seeing your LinkedIn page just right now.
Oh, sorry. Let me. How could I say that? Thank you so much for letting me know. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I shared the PowerPoint, but it seems like. Okay, can you see my screen now?
Yeah, there you
go. Thanks. Thanks a lot. So I'm pretty sure you didn't see the results. So these are the results actually. And like I said, we have 3 that are really curious. So let's go and move forward. So Agile. So imagine that you are building a car for a customer, right? And here you go the old way, or like we say, the waterfall way. Just start with a tire and then a couple of tires and then a little bit of a car and then a car. The whole process, the customer is really unsatisfied because they cannot really use it until they get to the end, right? But in the Agile way, we start with a skateboard. You can actually move with a skateboard. It's not a car. You cannot go places. I mean, not that far, but you can really use it, right? Then you have a scooter, and then you have a bike, and then you have a motorcycle, and then you have the car. So along the process, you were actually using the value of what the customer asked for. And that's what the Agile is all about. It's all about incremental value while we're moving forward with developing software. Common words and terminologies about Agile, you would hear a lot about business value. which is like what we are providing for the customer. You hear a lot about product backlog, which is all the features or all the stuff that the customer really wants to work through with the team. You would hear about retrospective, which is a meeting we do at the end of our iteration, because
sorry to interrupt one more time. I think if you focus the screen down, or the slides, I'm only seeing the worked in Agile team slide. Not sure if I'm the only one.
I'm sorry, could you see that?
What are others seeing? Same, maybe mine is off.
Yeah, just the mentee results.
Yeah.
Oops. Oh, I'm not sure. Let me try stop sharing. So if I actually, you know what? Let me try escaping this. Sorry guys for tech problems from a techie person.
I mean, I've never seen anyone in a Zoom meeting share something they weren't expecting. Yeah, I'm being sarcastic. Totally fine.
Okay, you can see the cloud words now?
Yeah.
Awesome. Let me try that again. There you go.
Then, yeah, cool. It's all cloud words.
Okay, cool.
All right.
So thank you so much again, Mike. Great coordination. So for the cloud words, these are the words I was talking about for the Agile, which is kind of like Scrum is part of the frameworks that Agile tries to go with the practice through. Scrum Master is actually a person that tries to handle Agile activities within the team and tries to kind of like, how could I say that, plant seeds within the team so you could focus on the work as a software engineer or as a tester or as a product owner, right? Kind of like the instrumental. And you have the development team, of course, who does the work. And you have the word self-organizing, which I would like to end this slide with, which is how can you build a team that's already going to move forward without having to be told what they would have to do. And then this is actually a report of, it's called 15 State of Agile Report. It's actually an annual report that is kind of like a survey, and it goes over multiple organizations to see where is the value for this organization from adapting or using Agile, right? I would say the most value was to enhance ability to manage changing priorities. And in Improv, since the presentation is mostly focused on Improv and Agile, this is translated to thinking on the fly. Next, we'll talk about things. Usually, Agile teams are known to deliver or do. But when you go to the real world and work with actual Agile teams, you would find it's not true. So we'd start with deliver value. So we're all in Agile very focused on delivering value. We want to build a big product. We want to build the next Uber. We want to build the best thing ever in this domain or in this product line, right? But do we care about the how the teams are doing their work? Do we care about the connections, which is part of the Agile principles, right? Connections and individuals over process and tools. So this is actually an Instagram screenshot I'm adding. It talks about like when you are in a restaurant, if you're finding that the vibes are good and the staff are treating each other well, you feel like you're having a good meal, you would stay in the restaurant. But even if you are in the best restaurant, in the best food, and you feel like the vibes are not right, and you feel like the staff are not really doing good coordination or communication, you would really tend to leave. So I would recommend in this book called Accelerate, and Accelerate is actually talking about moving software development from slow-paced organization to a high-performing and in the DevOps world organization. It's actually not very technical book. It's an easy read, and it talks also about high performing teams versus slow performing teams. Next is All Stars, and actually, like this is like a very cool thing I figured while working in bigger teams. It's the idea of how can we have the best metrics of performance for individuals inside the team? How can we create stars, right? And one of the ideas that Adam Grant in his podcast Work-Life Balance discussed, it's kind of like how can you build actually a good team without even the star or having the star. And he's giving an example of the Butler Dog basketball team, that they were a winning team even if they did not have stars on their team. How did they do that? How did it work for them? So it was mostly about humility, like the self-awareness of what they were good at and what they're not, how they can strengthen the coordination in order to get the work done or the team needs met over what is good for them or to be a star. If you look at that, actually, it's more of a role play than a star play. So it's kind of like more focused on learning or while coordinating. And my personal experience, when I spend more time in coordination and communication with other team members out and playing different roles beside my kind of like role as a software engineer, I would actually catch up on skills and pick up kind of like talents and certain ideas. And for example, like if you're a back end, you would just get some front end experience, right? If you are a software engineer, you would get some product ownership experience. So it's more of role playing, I guess, more than All Stars. And then other part of Agile teams, it's retrospective. And this is actually one of the interesting things I found while working on Agile teams. When we go to a retrospective is basically a meeting where we discuss the wins and the things that went bad in our sprint. And a sprint is the time frame we had to get some work or some value done for a customer. For example, like we want to create a login page. So this is a kind of work we will do a story, which is I, as X person, would like to have a login page or log into a page. And then at the end of the sprint, we'll talk about the login page, right? So in the retrospective, we could blame the authentication server. We would say, oh, the authentication server was down. The Active Directory actually didn't have enough users so we can do our tests. Or we could do, how can I say that? We could say the product owner was not present to tell us how many users could we expect when we do the login page. So all these problems, we are actually blaming the system, right? Instead of dealing or digging deeper on the problems where we had to discuss in our retrospective. I call them fake retrospective because you're actually talking to the system and the system cannot hear you. And I'm quoting here Tess Godin in this idea. Next slide is about actually Scrum Master role. So we talked at the first about Scrum Master to be the person who's doing the orchestration, right, between teams. So actually, some kind of like coding on Scrum Master, they would say, oh, you're going to work in an Agile team, but actually they're just doing meetings. You're going to be someone who's kind of like an Agile ninja, but you're actually going to be in impossible deadlines. You're going to work with newbies. You will have less support and less mentorship. And my favorite actually is kind of like, we need to incorporate our team urgently, because I worked on teams that were just like gathered to get some stuff done very quick. And I was hired just like in 2 or 3 weeks to get that. And what happened to be is like the team was just leaving, and there were like 7 or 8 team members leaving their organization. So it's kind of like things that are not true and quoted in job descriptions, in kind of like, how would I say that, in motivation speaking while we are in meetings, and we need to address that. So we are going back to Agile. So we talked about Agile, we talked about some terminologies, we talked about things that are happening in Agile world. So Agile experts look back on the experiences they have in these organizations, different industries, and start saying, oh, look, you're creating frameworks for Agile, you're taking practices. Now it's time to go back to principles. So they're saying, we're not Scrum, we're not Kanban, we're not Scale, we're not any framework. We're just going to focus on the principles. And 4 main principles that are related to the Agile Manifesto, it's make people awesome, individuals and connections, right? And experiment and learn rapidly, make safety a prerequisite, and we'll talk about safety, and deliver value continuously. So you can go, or you can Google modern Agile, and you'll find these principles discussed and why they are actually coming back after all these frameworks. And you would see me looking to the right if you're seeing me, but that's because I have my notes on the other laptop. So now it's actually time for, how can I say that? For some drawing. So if you could, I'm sorry, if you could go to this link, let me get to chat. And yeah, you could go to this link and draw. Let me try to, oh, go here and start. Yeah. Everybody, are you all set with the link? Are you able to access it? If you can type in chat, because I can see you. Okay, cool. So if you can draw something related to what you're working on these days, project, training, fun project like gardening, anything. And we'll start seeing you drawing one by one, I guess. And you can draw anything. You can draw letters, you can draw spaces, you can draw a swimming pool, like whatever fits to illustrate your project. And by the way, quick check, how is my audio and how is my pace? Like, am I going so fast? I'm going a little bit.
Good for me.
Okay, good. I mean, let me know if I need to slow down or explain more. If you have questions so far, this is a good time to discuss. We'll meet a minute or two, I guess, till everyone is done. Somebody is reworking the cat.
Is there a way to see other people's drawings?
Yeah, I'm curious. This is actually super non-technical. So if somebody came in like, this is a tech collab lab, I'm sorry for them.
There's no improv live coding?
I'm sorry?
Improv live coding?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure I'm aware of that. Could you post a link or something?
Oh, no. I was just joking. Seeing if we were doing improv live coding.
Oh, improv. I was thinking about doing a scene actually, and then I was like, that's too much. Like there were some scene exercises, like cool Zoom actually scene exercises. And I was like, oh no, I don't think that's very engaging. All right, we can start looking at what we have here. So I see actually kind of a spiral at the beginning, right? Like two spirals. I'm wondering what is that, like, if anybody's guessing.
Are we supposed to be seeing these?
I'm sorry?
Should we be seeing the other drawings, or are you describing them?
Yes, you should be, I think. Oh, I'm sorry. Do you see what I'm?
I see the slideshow.
Oh, okay. Let me stop sharing again. I'm sorry for that. Let me start sharing. Okay, share. Oh, okay.
Hey,
Can you see the
nice.
drawing?
Yeah.
All right. All right. That's cool.
Wow, fancy.
Yeah, I think there were some spirals, then it went away. I don't know where did it go. Well, I'm not sure anybody wants to explain. I'm seeing a calendar now, like deploy and logs. I can feel for you. I've been looking at Splunk logs for like days and days. I mean, I'm thinking somebody's troubleshooting here, releasing maybe. And then I see like a cat. I'm not sure. Is it a fun project with petting? I'm not sure. If anyone wants to explain, like, please join me. That's fun.
That's a dog. That's how bad an artist I am.
Oh yeah, that was cool. That's a dog. That's cool. Okay,
Dog,
so what's
dog
the
training.
dog? Oh, okay, I see. Oh, interesting. Interesting. I always wonder how dogs get to understand even like the very basic command sit. Like, I'm not sure. That's very, very interesting. Oh, okay. And the next one is like a to-do checklist. I'm wondering, is it like a calendar?
Yeah, it's supposed to be a calendar. I'm working on an app that's sort of customize a calendar that reveals things each day. So
Ah,
yeah.
okay. Is it a personal calendar or is it like a work project calendar?
It would be somewhere in between, but I made one. I made an advent calendar as a gift for someone, and now I'm trying to make it into a public app that anybody could customize.
Oh, okay. Cool. Is it so? It's a side project, like I'm sorry. It's a side project for you, right?
Yeah, just a personal one for my portfolio.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice. Encouraging, actually. I have that sticky note about my side project, looking at it every morning, saying, when are you starting? But that's cool. So next is a map, I assume. It's not like a football ground or something, right? It's a map.
Thank you. Yes, it landed. It worked.
Atlanta. So you're working from Atlanta. That's what you're saying?
I'm working on an app using geolocation. using React Map GL as a front end, and Mapbox as the back end. So working on a team, just worked on a team during a 1 week long school project, and we're doing some touching up on it this week.
Huh, that's interesting. Mapbox. I actually, the first app I worked, like my first product professionally, was a fleet management application, and we used Google Maps at the point and JavaScript. That was like in 2010, I guess, or 2009. Now they're much open source, like you're saying, Mapbox for backends. I'm Googling that. That's cool.
For sure, it's a lot of fun now. I've thought of using Google Maps as well, and ended up just exploring this as there were some lots of custom theme settings and things that we could do as a team that seemed creatively interesting. So
sounds good. Thank you so much for sharing that. And next is like DevOps. Very obvious, right?
Very obvious, DevOps.
Ops dev.
dev.
Oh,
No,
sorry.
I'm on my phone and I wrote dev, and then I didn't have room to put ops, so I just put the ops above it.
Oh, cool. Do you want to share anything about your project?
Well, I am working on the Journey to DevOps team with Coop, who's also on this call. And I'm an Agile coach, but I don't know as much about DevOps. And of course, I learn new things about Agile all the time too. So this is fun to be here. But I'm learning a lot about DevOps right now.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much for joining us and sharing about DevOps. So next one is a laptop, definitely, right? It's not my name. It's not Aya. It's AYB.
Yeah, well, that's kind of an arrow, and I think my thing was way too fat while I was drawing. It was too thick, and a question mark below that, and it's A/B testing. Been working on setting up A/B testing.
Setting up A/B testing, cool. And yeah. What is it for? Just like a new feature, or do you want to share more about it?
Yeah, it's so that content creators, like people doing a blog or like creating content for Zapier marketing, can self-service the A/B test so that they could do their own, create their own without needing an engineer at all.
Oh,
yeah.
I see. You're getting us out of job, but okay. All right. Sounds great. Thank you so much. And thank you everyone for drawing. We have still one more drawing to do. So you could still access the same link and enter the same code. And the next question is, how do you like to blend things? So think it from a perspective like what I talked about, like art and software. How do you do that? Like what is it like? Maybe cooking. How do you like to blend things in cooking? Like mixing certain herbs with certain flavors or spices. How do you like blend things in your own perspective, whether it's personal, professional? Feel free. It's art, so draw whatever you feel like.
Yeah, are we using the same canvas here as well? Should we?
I think if you go to the same link again, I think maybe you try a new browser. You should be able to find a new canvas with the new question, I guess.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Let me know if it didn't work.
Looks good.
Awesome. I'll give this a minute or two. And feel free to ask any questions in the chat. It's a really good time to discuss. All right, we can start now while someone's finishing their drawing. I could see from the right a hand and a broom. Or is it a broom? Or is it like a hair massager? I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's a fork.
Oh, okay.
Like yeah, by hand, I guess. Yeah. I like to
Okay.
blend things by hand. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. No more like mixers and like door stand blenders, right? KitchenAid stuff. No.
It would depend, but if it's like eggs or something like that, yeah, usually you just can use a fork. Like,
yeah, it's I feel this is like for me, this is really therapeutic. Like when I do like activities like by hand more than using the machine. Um, like you said, just even blending some eggs.
yeah.
Yeah, thank you. I think next is a bunch of trees and a rocket. Oh, is that a next SpaceX or something?
Oh, I was just thinking about like I love connections between things and like nature and technology and just yeah, I was just thinking of like trees and stars and like building the ship to go from one to the other, but the rocket kind of has the colors of both in it because it's all really there's just elements of everything everywhere. So it can make things that combine the best of both, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I like what you said, like combine the best of both, actually. Um, yeah, thank you. Thanks so much for sharing. I think the next one is really obvious, right? Like a blender, like that's what it is.
It's much better than my last drawing. But I like to cook, so yeah, I use like a blender and Instant Pot all the time.
Sounds great. Sounds great. I like to cook too, and it's interesting at my company. All the people I interviewed with, they were like all saying we like to cook, we like to cook. So even on Slack, we have a channel that's all about cooking. So yeah, totally thumbs up for that. Next, I think it's a very mature drawing for this app. I like it. I think it's kind of a TV.
Yes, I do some game development as a hobby and taught video game audio for a time, and so I find that video games are kind of my perfect perfect meeting point for all of the different creative aspects that I like to be involved in. There's code, there's music, there's art, there's narrative, and it kind of is the immersion for all of those that I like to like to tinker around with.
I totally agree with you. It's totally impressive for me, like game development, like how you guys get the dimensions right with everything, and you sync, like you said, the music with the motion, with the code. Actually, like I suffer with some web apps, and I think my code is just like one dimension, two dimensional. Like I feel like for you, it's way more complex. So that's awesome. Like that's awesome work.
Thankful to be part of a few teams. It's it is definitely a team task, and everybody contributes a really big part. So very thankful for that.
Thank you so much for sharing. The next one is a piano, I guess.
Yeah, I went twice. A lot of it, I was seeing that these were updating real time, and I was like, wait, is it updating real time, or can I go back? So I just did another one, then saw. But yeah, I like I started playing the piano and like kind of blending things together as I'm playing. I guess. Yeah.
Sounds awesome. Sounds awesome. I have a guitar. I got it like during COVID. I did weird things, and one of them, I got the guitar, and I was like, I want to learn how to play a guitar. And I never got over like chord A, D, E. That's it. The tutorial said I can do a song with that, but I couldn't actually. So I have to go back and learn more, I guess. So yeah, thank you so much for your drawing. And in the sake of time, I'll stop sharing and go back to the presentation actually. And sorry for the multiple stop and go. I'm learning. And here we go. Ah, so you can see my screen, right? Like the presentation?
Yep.
Okay, awesome. All right, so Improv. I actually started the journey of Improv just before COVID in summer of 2019. And I just read that article that talks about a software engineer finally, after multiple times trying to interview with Google, aced that interview and got the job. And he mentioned that Improv was the secret ingredient. So I was like, what? How did that work? What is Improv even? And I started researching after that, and I was like, wow, that's cool. So he talks about how that helped him with two parts. First, the thought process while prepping for these interviews. Second, stress relief, because if you've ever been in this process, it's very draining emotionally and mentally before physically. You have a lot to study in a very, very short time, and you still have to be very flexible because the interviewer would just play with questions, ideas, will go around. They will not just ask you straight, known, well problems, right? So I went to that school in Providence. It's called Improv Guild. If you Google that, they have like the highest review rates. It's in Rhode Island. If you ever had the chance to be around the area and maybe attend a couple of their shows or join their school, they're the best so far I've ever met, people-wise, course-wise, everything. And let me go to the next. So in Improv, I took level 1 and level 2. I think there's up to level 5, I think up to level 7 in San Francisco too. And there are a few lessons I'd like to share with you that I think actually blend with Agile. The first lesson is where, who, and what. So in Improv, we start the scene with a word from the audience. So the audience just say, for example, spaceship, right? And then somebody from the team steps into the stage and start performing. And they start performing something about spaceship. They don't say the word spaceship. They don't say where they are. They don't say what they're doing. They don't say who they are. They just start performing by saying certain lines. So it's very important to put context while you're doing the scene without saying it explicitly. So I would reflect on Agile when we are in our meetings, in stand-ups. Stand-ups is one of the vital meetings for you who did not practice Agile. It's where everyone in the team meets every day at a certain point of time to talk about the work they've done and the work that they are going to be doing, and if they were stuck, if they have issues or any problems. That's basically what Scrum says, but it's more into it. So it's very important when we're going to stand up to talk about our work, to put people around in context, right? To talk about what we're talking about, which parts of this work are we going to reflect on, what are the impact areas, right? And also in other parts, like or other meetings, I would say like planning meetings. When we go to planning meetings, we tend to tackle the issues, go for business value. But it's very important to put everyone in context because you're having different backgrounds. You have product owner, business background. You have software engineers, technical backgrounds. So to put everyone in context and talk about the problem we're solving or the features we're trying to get to. This is very, very important lesson to reflect on while we're doing Agile, right? Next part is while we're doing where, who, and what, it's important to have ownership. So as how could I say that? As an improviser, I tend to give the scene value through explaining who I am, explain what I'm doing, explain where I am, right? I'm having kind of ownership over the scene. It's same for for retrospectives and for stand-up and for backlog grooming or planning, to have ownership over what we're doing. So collective ownership or ownership, I would give an example of that in retrospective when we talk about what we've done or what we want to improve on. We end up with some actions. Many teams tend to forget about adding or assigning team members to these actions. Sometimes they hang them on the wall, sometimes they keep them in the Confluence page, sometimes it's just like, okay, we talked about it, we're cool, and then we leave. It's very important to motivate these actions by assigning people and have ownership over it. The next one is actually yes and. And yes and is really a common lesson for improv. If you ask any improviser or ask anybody who heard about improv, they would say, yeah, yes and, you're talking about that. So yes and is one of the lessons I learned, I think level 1. It's mostly tend to shift the mindset from saying yes but for an idea or for a suggestion or for whatever statement said, to yes and. And yes and is kind of a continuation on the idea. And like you see here, like somebody's just like trying to step and they're worried. So they're worried about like the shark in the water, but you could have multiple other ideas for what if I wanted to step from this mountain or cliff. So in at this part, actually everyone's idea is shared. So you have like also the value of sharing and contributing in these meetings. If you have like a spirit of yes and, you compare also the pros and cons of these ideas, right? So if like you would say, oh, I would say yes and to everything. What if it's a really, really bad idea? Okay, so if it's a really, really bad idea, we'll dig deeper until we get to the point that everyone agrees that this is a really, really bad idea, because we're comparing pros and cons for the idea, right? Because at the end of the day, the overhead of listening to everyone's idea is way, way better than having team members not sharing what they really have to say or what they think is helping the team. Pineapple. So one of the things actually as improvisers we face is random words. So if you ask the audience, give us a word, they could say like the word pineapple. And when it starts with a pineapple, you have to think through it, right? Like you have to think, okay, it's a yellow. So let's talk about something yellow. Oh, pineapple, that reminds me of Hawaii. It reminds me of vacation. What about we talk about vacations? Oh, pineapple, that's kind of like tropical fruit, tropical seasons, rain. Let's talk about rain. So you get ideas while you're talking about a very, very random word, right? Here you go, best topping on a pizza. Yes, so you can talk about pizzas. So the improvising part here, how can you shift your head from one thought to another through just a very, very random word, right? And one of the lessons actually I got in level 2 is kind of like what we call ABC. And one of the exercises we would do would be in a circle, and somebody would say something, would say, for example, let's say pineapple again. So would say pineapple reminds me of fruits, fruits reminds me of picnics. So that was A to B to C. So the next person would take picnic and says, picnic reminds me of good weather reminds me of parks. And the next person would say parks. So parks reminds me of green, and green reminds me of mountains in Iceland, maybe. And then somebody would say, oh, next person, Iceland. Iceland reminds me of traveling. Traveling reminds me or makes me think of airplanes. So you go around the circle and then you will end with a whole different idea, right? So thinking on the fly, going into steps in thought, this way actually is very, very, how could I say that, welcomed in improv. And if you have that mindset in Agile, you'd be really welcoming critical issues. You will be welcoming bad delivery status when you talk about them in stand-ups, right? You'd be really happy to join rush demos. You'd be really able to do it because you can have that thinking on the fly skill, right? And I think that also helps in finding innovative ways to apply and correct. And next, since we talked about thinking on the fly, so we talked about the improv scene. How can we step in on the stage with just one word? You can see here that this is just an improv scene. There's someone who's listening, right? They're not part of the acting. That's what we sometimes do. We just listen, and as a scene partner, for the other person to finish the 2 lines they just do on stage. When we listen, we get the gifts the partner is saying to build up on the scene. So the idea is not I listen to reply or to respond. I just listen to capture the gifts that my scene partner are saying, so I can build up on the scene with a whole different thought process or a whole different idea. Or maybe I will continue, right? Yes, and just building up. So here, actually, when you listen in stand-ups, in retrospectives, in planning meetings, you can dig deeper. You can ask clarifying questions. You can actually get to understand or learn what is behind the message your team mate is trying to say, or maybe there's something missing. So if you have that perspective when listening, it actually helps more with the team and helps more with ending up with a positive value from these meetings. Next, end scene. So for end scene, actually, part of what our team does, like on stage, we are kind of like 7 people, and I think we're about time here. And so I'll try to kind of like wrap this up. End scene is kind of like we're 7 people, but 2 of us or 3 of us are performing, right? Like one and the other one, sometimes someone steps in the scene, but what about the other 4? So while we are waiting or watching the scene, you could step in or you could end the scene. And when we end the scene, we just run across the stage. We try, I'm not sure if you're seeing me, but we try to wave with our hands up high, and that means end scene. And then the scene partners will just stop, move the chairs back, and then a new scene starts. That actually promotes collective ownership. So I did not contribute to the scene. I have the authority to just end the scene. And when in improv, we end the scene after a good laugh, or if we think the scene is not going anywhere, or if we think we have an idea that will continue on the scene, but the scene has to stop now. So we just end the scene and then we jump over the stage to start a new scene, continuing or reflecting on the previous scene. Like I said, if you go in stand-up or if you go in retrospective, you go into planning meeting with the mindset of collective ownership, You are as much as important as everyone on the team. You don't go with the perspective of hippo. Hippo means highest paid person in the room. And sometimes fake agile would just go around the hippo more than the team. So it's very important to understand which mindset are you going to these meetings. Game on, and game on is actually one of the lessons I learned in level 2, which is keep the game playing. The audience are really curious. The audience, we want to build up their curiosity. We want to feed them this curiosity and get them to really want to know what's going to happen. So the game has to be played between the scene partner. You don't have to answer questions. No questions answered. You have to keep digging deeper in the idea and building up. So when we explain features, if we're reflecting on Agile, don't give simple answers and stop. Explain and accept ideas from your teammates. Let your audience get entertained, right? Like the team being entertained, feeling like, oh, okay, so what will happen next? What's the impact area on this one? What are we going to do about this part? This would keep the game playing. Also invest. So invest is kind of like we said, discuss the impact areas to keep the team aligned and informed. And also in retrospective, being vocal and digging deeper until all the points are peacefully crunched. And last, I think would be, oh no, it's not last. So celebrate mistakes. Celebrate mistakes is actually a funny exercise I did at Improv level 2. We would just throw a virtual object there's nothing there, and somebody would try to catch up and act like they could not catch up, and everybody would just cheer for them. And then we throw another virtual object, another member would try to catch it up and they act like they couldn't catch up, and then everybody would have to cheer for them. It sounds silly at first, but then we find out like, oh my goodness, we're celebrating, right? So if you're in an environment that celebrates mistakes, you would be able to learn from them, right? You'd be able to share them too. Some hospitals were reporting certain status, and one of the hospitals was reporting higher status than all the others. So they thought that this hospital is really failing at handling the situation. But actually, it was that the hospital was really recording their failures more than the other hospitals. Very recommended book, and it reflects very much on celebrating mistakes. I think this is the last one, and it's heightening the scene without fighting. So part of like the improv scene, we tend to increase the tone of the scene. So by piling up the same idea or the same thought we're talking about, or finding new ways to heighten the scene. And this is actually like what I find interesting, kind of like engaging the audience and like, wow, this is getting bigger and bigger and bigger, right? But we are still not fighting, right? Like we're keeping the game on without fighting, because it's very easy to fight. It's very easy to get a quick laugh. But in improv, we don't care about laughing. We care about being true and being in context most of the time. Perspective. Oh, so perspective, I'll just touch on just one point here. Here I was just building a shoe rack for my first time, and I started like looking around the shoe rack and how can I just connect the objects. I needed to be standing up, but actually when I'm building it, I'm kind of like moving it around, trying different nails, trying different pieces. And in improv also, we tend to say same line, but we can do it in different moods. So we could say it when we are sad, we could say it when we are angry, we could say it when we are happy, same line, same context, but you could just say it in a way, add few words, and make it a whole different situation. So I would say this is actually I'm sorry. I could say this is actually, how can we apply that? It would actually, first, we accept all ideas, right? So if I see it from a certain perspective, my teammate is seeing from a different perspective, my software manager is seeing from a different perspective. So if I'm taking different perspectives to the same idea, that's actually allowing me to understand more, to understand that the reflection or the perspective could be different. And when we are in meetings and we know that everyone has their perspective, we just need to listen and react correctly to each perspective, right? Like when somebody is sad, you need to react differently from when somebody is angry and when somebody is happy. So learning those actually while diving in those agile meetings would be really helpful in still increasing the value. So this is my puzzle. I like to do puzzles too. And I would leave you with those three main lessons: listening to gifts, celebrating mistakes, and accepting everyone's ideas.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much. This was really, really cool. I learned a lot, and it got me thinking about different ways to have improv just in work and agile. I was thinking personally a lot about like pair programming in improv, all of that. Yeah, really cool.
You're welcome. I'm happy to take any questions if any. I know we're very much off time, but you can, I shared my LinkedIn. If you still have any thoughts or questions, I'm happy to collaborate.
Cool. Well, I'm going to, like I said before, I'll post the recording for this on the meetup link, and we all have Aya's contact info. So thank you once again to Aya, and thank you all for coming. This was wonderful.
Thanks, Aya.
Thank you so much.
See you later.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Thank you all.
Bye.
Really appreciate it.
Welcome.
Right. Okay.